going on. We've got official Christmas thumbnails going on. So, how good is that? We are coming up to Christmas. We're like a week or two before Christmas, so we're good. So today we are going to go through the latest news topics. We're going to be talking about some Regal Publishers comics that came out this week and the past week or so, and we'll dive into it right now. So the new Regal Publishers comic set came out in the past week or so, and it hosts the Christmas specials number 19, 20, and 21, which are basically the issue numbers. So I'm looking at the the latest Regal publisher issues right now, and it looks alright. They look alright. One where there's a the one where there's the big sea monster you'd think, and that story is from Croco Island West, I think. Croco Island West. So that cover, I'm guessing, is done by Ankit. I think Ankit. And he's been doing a great job from doing Regal publisher work. And I had been talking to him, in the past week to see if he could do something for me. But he's an amazing bloke. He's an amazing guy, amazing art. And yeah, you just look at the first couple of covers that he's been putting out, and the covers that he's been making for the Phantom fans have been extraordinary. They've been amazing. Like I'm surprised and I'm amazed on how many Phantom comics have came out in Regal Comics for the last past year or so, past couple of years. Because obviously this year they celebrated their first year anniversary as being publishing the Phantom in India, and as everyone would know, few publications they've got some new Regal comics in stock. I'll have it up on screen. So what I found out on the Few Publications website in the last couple of days is that we barely got to we barely I don't even think we got a notification, the fans that got a notification that new Regal comics were out on the Few Publications website. So I was having a look at the covers, and I was having a look at the Few Publications website a couple of days ago, and what do you know? They're all sold out. All the regular issues are sold out. So yeah, and we've even got latest ones there, like issue number 18 and number 17 and all those types of things done by, I think those ones came out in I think October or November, somewhere in there. But most of the issues that have been like the regular type of issues, not the essential ones, they were like basically sold out when I had a look. And it was the same with the Shakti Comics ones. I didn't know this, but I looked at the latest social media page that is to do with Few Publications. They've got a new social media page, which we will be talking about later on the show. And back to where I was talking about. So that social media page, I noticed in the last couple of days that we basically, we got a lot of people got a notification that Shakti Comics was getting the latest Shakti Comics book is getting sold on Few Publications website, and what do you know? It's sold out again. You got to be quick for these things, people. You got to be quick. How's it going? How's it going? So we are currently talking about the latest Regal Publishers comic sets. And yeah, this video, as you would know, is basically sort of like a Christmas jam-packed live stream. We've got actually moving on. So the Christmas specials from Regal Publishers, they are issue 19, 20, and 21, and the price in RS, which is Indian Ruby, as I got to know some things this year and last year, is RS 570 for all issues, and that's in like combo pack from Regal Publishers. Moving on, we have new updates on Boss Fight Studios figurines, and I'll be talking about those images. So in the last, well, I guess yesterday, we actually saw the Boss Fight Studios. So Boss Fight Studio, you'd know they've been coming out with some great, I would say great pre-pictures to basically let the fans know that there's new figurines on the way and that there's new process pictures coming on, so that fans actually know that these figurines are actually being made and aren't just getting, I don't know, not made and people's money is going out the door. But some of the figurines we've obviously in the last, well, this year, this whole year, we've been seeing a lot of pre-shoots, a lot of pre-figurines as of like non-painted ones. We saw a lot of non-painted ones, like very bland colors. And like you would absolutely know that in, I think, in the last month or so, they, Boss Fight Studios, when I was doing my news segment, so for I think probably 4 or 3 weeks straight, I was talking about figurines in the news segment. And I thought, well, how many more segments and I'm going to be talking about figurines? Because I reckon it was, well, I guess it was different, like different studios that were making it. But yeah, there's a lot of news was coming around, I think October or November, somewhere around those. So yeah, it's a big thing that when fans actually get new figurines, it's a big thing because a lot of people or a lot of fans and a lot of the audience that have just been, that probably don't know that much about the Phantom may actually experience the character and then read the books on following from buying figurines or buying merchandising or stuff like that. So, yeah, it's pretty cool that we actually, as Phantom fans, get new figurines, we get new books, we get new merchandising. Oh yeah, so yeah, it's also great that obviously we've got new countries that are publishing the Phantom, and as as a very supportive fan has just said, it the Phantom is basically a hit in Turkey. So who knew? Who knew? I obviously didn't. So thank you for sharing that information on this live stream. So the next bit in this live stream, we are talking about the new Few Publications social media page manager. So in the last, what you've probably noticed in the last week or so, if you are on Instagram, if you're not on Instagram, Few Publications, they have a new sort of social media page on Instagram, and quite frankly, you would want a very younger sort of person to be managing it, obviously, because They have more. They would have technically they would have more experience. So one of the in the last couple of weeks we've had the Phantom in Vietnam issue being advertised. We've had this issue that we're going to be reviewing later being promoted on it by amazing artwork by Luca Berta, if you can see it. We've got the latest issue that came out, I think, in the past week or so, the last couple of weeks, which was the Nosferatu's Revenge. Haven't read it yet. Review coming soon. And yeah, I like how few publications. So yeah, I like how few publications back a long time ago. Um, you would say few publications wasn't really doing that much promotional sort of things to do with social media stuff. They would be just sticking to the things that they had thought that were going okay. So it's great that few publications are obviously targeting a sort of younger audience, you'd say, with a lot of, I think most of the people that would go on Instagram or Facebook, or especially Instagram, would be a younger sort of folk. I think a lot of people are. Like, I'm on it, but like, I think because it's a younger audience, people that are from a younger audience may discover the page or something like that. And even though it's got what 92 followers, it's still good that we get to see this sort of stuff. Okay. Okay, so we've got new few publications, Phantom Comics. So as I did say, with the newest one that came out in the past week or so, we saw obviously Nosferatu's Revenge cover art. I actually reported on that. I reported on that comic last week, but this coming week, I'm thinking. Okay, so in the past week we've had a new good old Anthony on Facebook has posted the cover art for the Christmas special. Now, I'm you'd say I usually like when I get my Phantom comics, especially the Christmas special and especially the annual. Breathe, Bradley, breathe. So I don't usually like spoilers when new covers come in. Like, I don't like spoilers when new covers come in. A lot of people in the WhatsApp group would obviously know that. And yeah, you'd say a great cover. Haven't got the book yet. I'm hoping to get it this week because I love Christmas specials and I love the annuals. Just don't like when I get spoiled by them. That's just my opinion. The other issue that was supposed to come out last week was the giant size Phantom issue. Now that is number 19. It's one of the new issues done by cover artist done by Glenn Lubston, and most of his work is becoming so great you could put posters up. Yes, we've got posters in the background. It is awesome to have those posters up in the background. It is great that posters of that kind and those covers come in. So good. Yeah, so we have a couple of new announcements to make this year. So I will be, as usual, I will be taking my annual Christmas break from the 21st of December to around January the 10th. So as if you have been supporting the channel, I greatly appreciate it. And there will be new content coming out in the past, coming out at the end of this year. So yeah, so we'll hopefully next year be having a little bit more content coming from Whispering Grove. As you know, he did 2 videos this year, which is very, very good. And I'm thinking of doing more interviews and more collaboration projects next year. But also this year, we will be having the Christmas special coming out on Christmas Day. And we will also be having the top 10 Phantom Comics of 2021 coming out later this year, very late this year. And the end of a new thing that we're trying to start on the channel, end of year montage, the best moments on camera from this year. So yeah, what was one of the other sort of announcements I also want to make? So coming next year, I will be trying to have a new logo, a new refreshing look, a new refreshing logo for the channel. So I think I will be making that either in my Christmas break or just before I come back on air, which will be in January the 10th next year. We also will be changing the video schedule, and I'm thinking of doing 2 videos per week. 2 videos per week. And I did think of doing 2 videos per week and nearly thinking of doing a stream midway or something. But there will definitely some weeks be more videos coming out. So yeah. And I will be continuing my podcast, The Fan, on all major podcasting platforms like Spotify, Google Google Podcasts, and all those sort of things. So a new episode from for the podcast next year will try and do one every sort of month or so. And yeah, I've trying to get some awesome people on the show next year for the podcast. I'm trying to organize some stuff, and I'm obviously going to try and do more collaborations and more interviews. I'm trying to organize one right now for next year. Um, so, lastly on the show, we are going to be talking about issue 1906. Rightio. So, this story, so the Phantom of 1776, the cover art is done by a magnificent cover art by Luca Berta. Look at that. So good. Just take a moment. Look at that beautiful cover art. It's so good when you get a new, like I said this earlier, it's so good when you get a new cover and you just look at it and admire it. So what the story is about, it's one of the last greatest stories done by Don Newton. So a little bit of back page on Don Newton. Don Newton, he did a lot of he did a few Phantom stories for Charlton Comics back in the day. And as you would know, if you don't know, Hermes Press, they published a dynamic book featuring all about Don Newton's stories and his artwork. And in this story, he did not only wrote and illustrated the story, he's in this cover. So that was bad. That was bad. So we start the story off with obviously the 400 years ago, the sole survivor of a pirate massacre was washed ashore on a remote beach, like the usual intro. So obviously I'm going to be showing you some panels. Obviously, the Phantom, this Phantom is taken back, I think, from back in the olden days, where we had the Civil War happening. This also takes back around, basically around when they were still doing slavery and all that sort of stuff, and before that got abolished. The Phantom goes on an adventure to find. So basically, the Phantom, he's been told by a native that one of the slavery ships, had actually taken one of the chief's only sons and had taken him on the boat. The Phantom goes to a nearby sea village place. He gets a job on a cruise ship, like he gets a job on a pirate ship that takes him to America. Takes him to America. What the pirate doesn't know is the guy that he's just hired is the Phantom and a sworn enemy of all pirates. Yeah, this is just a great splash page, that ship is. Everything goes. So yeah, the Phantom shows up, obviously drags everything out. He questions this pirate. He then goes to a nearby village or colonial town. Goes to a nearby town. He finds that the person that he was actually looking for has been murdered. The pirate that he had been on the ship, that the pirate ship person, the main captain on the ship that the Phantom was on, that person, the pirate, had killed the person that the Phantom was looking for. The pirate threatens the Phantom, doesn't end well. Phantom basically attacks, and they have a sword fight. Phantom is clumsy, and the sword that the Phantom is holding is clumsy and fragile against the cutlass. He then basically, the pirate, I guess, I think dies in this one. Yeah, the pirate dies on page 16. The Phantom then goes and looks through the old mate's book to see where to go next. He protects this farm from getting attacked by the colonials, I guess, or the Civil War people. He asks this guy where he could find Mr. Washington. Washington makes his appearance on page 21. Right there. The Phantom talks to Mr. Washington, which at that time was the President of America. And by that time, the Phantom is not, the Phantom, You know how the Phantom is always looking for a solution to a issue or a solution to a problem that needs fixing? This time around, the Phantom actually knows that he's not going to find a solution to the problem. He's going to have to wait, make sure that he waits for the time to do his thing, and that with time things may change. And if he needs to, he obviously the following day in the Independence Hall, the Phantom is shadowed in a gallery above. Right there. Yeah, it's great when you get to have a look at like phantom stories that are historic. Sometimes they can be historically accurate, like how Caesar Spadari used to do his art. He did a Caesar Spadari had a story called The Assassination of President Lincoln. I know I've said that story and I've talked about that story before on the channel. I think it was last year or something. So yeah, and that story I loved it, and yeah, this story, this last Don greatest Don Newton story, is just a beautiful piece, a beautiful piece. So the Phantom he makes his way home and brings. I think he brings. Yeah, Frew. I'll read you this thing. I'll read you the last page. Some weeks later, Tusu Monk and the Phantom are aboard a ship bound for France. A second vessel carries them to Africa, where they travel overland to home. Through the long months, all men clung to his life, knowing the Phantom would succeed, and what lies ahead for our people and that faraway land called America. I succeeded only partially, but what I've scene gives me hope that the blot of slavery will someday be forever wiped clean. It might take years, even centuries, but the Phantom will not rest until that day comes. Yeah. Sort of a it's sort of a great way to end the story. So the Phantom sort of doesn't the Phantom is just waiting for time to do his thing, and when time comes, maybe it will change. So we have the next episode of The Phantom by Gaslight, Riddle of the Grey Malkin. Now I've been reviewing these episodes in obviously the last couple of reviews, and I've really been enjoying this series, this like continuation series of the Phantom by Gaslight series. We see, obviously, last time I think the professor was actually one of the main people who had kidnapped, obviously, the cub, the precious Malkin cub. And that Malkin cub had gone there. The Malkin cub had attached itself to Paris Green. And what happens? The professor doesn't have the guts to basically make a decision. So the bad guys he's tied up with make a decision for him. And basically, they burn down his house. And you think when they're burning down his house, they burn the Phantom and Paris Green and the Grey Malkin cub with him. But they don't. The all, all the compassionates escape the house. The Phantom does his own stuff and beats the knocking craps out of them. I think they try and get away. The Phantom beats them up, and then one of the bad guys tries to shoot Paris Green in the last page, and the Grail Malkin Cub attacks. And by that time, next issue, the episode, the series is concluded. Okay, so now we have the forum, letters, comments, social media, and the forum. Yeah, and so what would you know? I made my first appearance in the letters. So I emailed Dudley Hogarth, um, a couple of months ago, and I was basically asking uh, why why few publications was not publishing the latest Phantom newspaper stories in comics when they finished in the newspapers. I know that's what the letter says. I know you publish the Sunday and daily stories in the Christmas specials every year, but I think there should be a couple of latest daily or Sunday stories in Phantom Comics every year. Dudley went on to say, I must admit that we are a few stories behind now. I always try to make sure we have sufficient content for the Christmas special, which like I said, the Christmas specials I love, and the stories you see them every year. But like what I was trying to say was, if you see them every year, why is it that we can't see them throughout the year? You get what I'm going at. So they have sufficient content for the Christmas special, but I will probably do some issues of daily and Sunday stories next year in order to catch up. I have a request for the art in with King Features at the moment. I have a idea. When the collector replica series finishes, you could publish the new stories from the last decade to now in a modern Phantom special series. I hope you are having a great day. Kind regards, Bradley. Now, Dudley goes on to say, don't you think that the modern Phantom special series, reprinting stories from the last decade, would be a little too soon to be asking people to appreciate the reprint? Now, I get what he's saying. I get where he's coming from, because if you've got stories that are coming in from the last decade, it really doesn't give a lot of time for the fans to basically. Really doesn't give the fans enough time to. Um, it really doesn't. It really doesn't give them enough time to appreciate a reprint of the last decade of Phantom stories, from the Paul Ryan years to the Mike Manley years till today, and Jeff Woogley and Terry Betterly and all those type of people. Now, another thing I would like to talk about, there's another letter here, and it sort of goes on to say that he's enjoying his subscription, which is good. You get to support you get to support few publications who basically publish the Phantom in Australia, which is awesome. He also shows a pic of a Phantom badge his father got between 1956 and 1958. I've seen a couple of these badges on the Phantom Facebook groups, and it looks pretty damn cool. Look at that. So cool. So damn cool. There's another letter here talking about a original Phantom artwork by Glenn Ford. Yeah, and what's interesting about this artwork is that Dudley goes on to say that the artwork wasn't actually used on the book. So yeah, um, it's a great thing that they actually It's a great thing that few publications actually provide the images which the fans have sent in, which is another great thing. So play the Phantom board game. The Treasures of Dracon, the official board game, is out now. You can get it at few publications or at phantomcomic.com.au for $135, including postage. And if you have one of the comics, you can scan the QR code for gameplay video link. Right there. There's the page. I hope you have enjoyed this live stream. And as always, keep Phantom Caving. You can subscribe, like, share, comment as we are heading up into next year with a lot of enthusiastic, a lot of great content trying to be coming out in the next year and more. And always keep Phantom Caving, and we'll see you next week.